Aloha, good evening, everyone, on this pleasant Friday night from Riverton, Utah. Welcome to the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com and our presentation of Davis Darts Basketball presented by UCCU, WGU, and Heidemann & Associates. Tonight, the UHSAA and its official online streaming partner, KSLSports.com, is proud to present this matchup in the second round of the 2023 UHSAA 6A Boys Basketball Playoffs, as the Riverton Silverwolves, the outright Region 3 champs, get ready to host the biggest home game under Skylar Wilson ever as they take on the Davis Darts. With my broadcast partner, Leighton graduate class of 2017, Tyler Gibb, Alexander Timolip joining you here. Tyler, wow, what an atmosphere we've stepped into. Arguably the biggest home game in the history of Skylar Wilson's tenure. This one's going to be different.
The Riverton fans have been filing in for quite a while. We got here about 45 minutes early, and they were already rolling in. You've got a whiteout with the student section, and the atmosphere, you can feel it. And that's with the RPI format. You get a little bit of a different feel with the home games in the playoffs instead of everybody meeting at the same venue. And so it brings that excitement and that extra energy, makes for a fun environment.
Well, Davis coming off a first-round win. As we do that, we're going to throw it to Brett Cassine now, PA announcer inside Riverton for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose blood stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof for the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say was that star-spangled banner waved o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now, arguably, Tyler, you would consider this the biggest game, maybe in Riverton history, but records say they've had big games like this before, but definitely not like of this magnitude. But Davis, of course, coming off a win on Wednesday in the first round against 21st-ranked Weber. They are coming in with a lot of confidence, and they've been in this position before as the underdogs.
No matter how Davis's finishes in the win-loss column, Davis is always one of those schools that has got it done in the past, and they have that confidence that they'll be able to get it done again. Last year, they got upset by Syracuse in the second round at home. You know that they're going to be hungry from that, and they want to send a message this year that they're the same Davis High School that they've proven they are in the past as one of the more dominant names and schools in 6A.
So let's get to our Heidemann & Associates keys to the game, presented by the full-service law firm that's committed to winning for their clients. Tyler Gibb, take us through what each team needs to do to come out of here with a win and move on to the D Event Center next Tuesday.
We'll start with the home team, Riverton. Riverton needs to come out and play very well in the first half. They got a bye in the first round, so they haven't played yet in this playoffs. But if you look at Riverton's last 6 games, there's some pretty eye-opening numbers. They're a minus 35 in the first half, plus-minus differential, and a plus 48 in the second half of those last 6. They have a 4-2 record, and they've only led at halftime in one of those games. So they're very well at playing from behind and having a good second half, but the playoffs can be a different story. If you get behind, it's a lot tougher to come back in the playoffs. And for Davis, they've got to control the tempo. They do a good job at forcing turnovers, and Riverton's one of those teams that can get a little bit sloppy with the ball. against Weber on Wednesday, Davis had 7 straight possessions in the second quarter that they scored a bucket, and they went on a 17-4 run to close out the half. If they can do that against Riverton, control the tempo, and get those runs going with turnovers, Davis will put themselves in a great spot.
Like we said, this is probably the biggest home game that Riverton has ever had under head coach Skylar Wilson. Tyler, it's hard to believe. This team was 0-10 last year in region play. 0-10 last year in region play to an outright region championship for the first time in their school's history. And now here they are playing against one of probably the best teams in the state of Utah for the last 5 years in the Davis Stars.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Riverton comes out. Like we said, it's their first game in these playoffs, but you don't have a season where you flip it around from going 0-10 to winning the region title without having your leaders buy in, and that's exactly what Jackson Karakis, Logan Dunfield, and those guys have done. They bought in defensively, they played as a team, and you can just see the difference that makes when everybody's on the same page.
It was Dunfield who had the heroics back on January 20th when Colton Potter and I were last year to play against Copper Hills. Of course, we remember that game fondly. We remember that game very well. A much different task, though, awaits the Riverton Silverwolves tonight in a crowd that's wearing mostly white tonight. The student section decked to the nines in white, waving rally towels. Alexander Tumalipin, Tyler Gibb ready to go. Tyler, you as a student have been around playoff games, but tell me you haven't missed this atmosphere being here in a playoff game as a broadcaster now instead of a student.
Riverton puts on one of the best pregame introductions and pregame shows I've seen from a high school. Normally in the playoffs, I've always been used to, you go to Weber State, the D Event Center or the Huntsman Center, wherever it is. But that, pregame intro, you got the student section going crazy. Looks like they're about to unravel the flag. That's what high school basketball is all about.
So it begins. The flag is unfurled. The whiteout in effect underway. The second round of the playoffs begins. Ike Morgan is in possession of it first here for the Davis Darts. On the swing now, here's Caden Egan in the high post. He had 36 in the first game of the season that we covered up at Davis High School against Hunter as Karakis clears that rebound. Jackson Karakis, the second leading scorer in 6A this season, along with Logan Whitehour, 6A Region 3 with Logan Whitehour of Copper Hills, who of course is playing Fremont up the road as Karakis misses his first shot.
The ball hasn't gone inside the three-point line yet. Both teams doing a good job at pushing up with pressure.
That three from Agat's no good. And here comes Karakis in transition. Dunfield working against Zach Fisher. Turn around on the post. And he gets the first basket of the game for Riverton. It'll be interesting to see how well Rick Davis can deal with the size that Riverton has on the floor. Shot clock down to 15. Here's Zach Fisher out front. Now Alex Fisher, Ike Morgan, shot clock down to 10. Wants the screen from Caden Eggett. Behind the screen, drives, turnaround, dish inside, nice pass. Caden Eggett off the glass. With the shot clock winding down, no less.
It was 30 seconds of fantastic defense from Riverton, kept everybody in front of him, but Ike Morgan with an incredible look finally gets Davis on the board.
Ike Morgan, the junior, standing just 5'10". Inside off the cut, Karakis can't get that one to fall. But here comes Coleman Atwater the other way. And now Zach Fisher driving into the paint. Offensive foul.
If Skylar Wilson was worried at all about Riverton coming out in their first playoff game, having any lack of energy or the bright lights, that's quickly been put to bed. great hustle and great toughness from Riverton just in the first 2 minutes.
And it is absolutely deafening in here right now. Could barely hear yourself think as Stratton Johnson rattles the floater in from the corner. And it's an early 4-2 lead for the Silverwolves here. Again, winner moves on to the D Event Center. Coleman Atwater now in the corner. Almost threw that pass away. Fisher able to get control of it. Again, shot clock down to 10. Cross-court swing. Ike Morgan back out. Coleman Atwater. Pull up from the short corner. Too strong. Kobe Nielsen the rebound. And they want to run. They have Johnson up ahead along with Karakis, but he pulls back, and you'll set it out front. Expect a very low-scoring, very physical game. Buckets will almost certainly be at a premium. As that pass is deflected and turned over, Ike Morgan comes out of the pile with it. Alex Fisher. Good transition defense there from the Silverwolves.
Both teams play a similar style of game. They don't have that one guy that they totally rely on. Obviously, Jackson Karakis for Riverton is fantastic.
What a three from the corner that time. Alex Fisher with a hand in his face. The aforementioned Karakis. And the Davis Darts have their first lead of the game.
But both teams kind of rely on that well-balanced offense. And as Skylar Wilson said, he said they don't run a pretty offense. It's kind of ugly. As you see the turnover there. But they get it done he said they like to win ugly, and they've embraced that role.
Karakis, cross court. Johnson. And they're going to be as deliberate as they want to be. Almost two carbon copy teams of each other. Both prided on defense. Skylar Wilson and Chad Sims. For Sims, this is, by the way, his 20th career playoff game as Kobe Nielsen misses that three. And here comes Atwater in transition. Zach Fisher. Good defense there. Pass. Almost got stolen by Johnson, but Morgan gets it back out front. Carter Nixon getting set to check in for the Silverwolves. Morgan behind the screen. Kenneth the three. Zach Edwards the rebound. Here comes Kobe Nielsen to Logan Dunfield. Drives inside. Blocking foul call.
The Davis fan section in front of us had about 15 of them stand up, pointing the other way. It was a close bang-bang call. Could have gone either way, but Riverton will get the free throws.
By the way, Riverton shoots the highest ratio of free throws in the entirety of Region 3. 7th in 6A, by the way. We're going to get a wholesale change here for Riverton in just a second after Dunfield puts up the first free throw. And he makes it. Caleb Taylor comes in for Davis. On the other side for Riverton, you have Ben Barris, Caden Allred, and the aforementioned Carter Nixon marching onto the floor for the first time. Dunfield hits both, and Riverton goes back on top 6-5.
Riverton applying a little pressure, a little zone, 1-3-1 trap.
Looking for the extra pass. That is tipped and stolen. Ahead it comes. Barris for three. Long rebound deflected out. And Stratton Johnson takes it in a new 35. Allred thought about it. Into the corner. And Nixon can't hit that three. Dunfield trying to chase down the rebound, and it's grabbed by Alex Fisher. About 2.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Alexander Timolip alongside Tyler Gibb. The second round of the UHSAA playoffs. Coleman Atwater. Yes, sir, for three! Davis has hit 4 field goals in a row. Back the other way comes Johnson. He'll try the step back three. He banks it in from the right side. And Chad Sims And actually, we got a player down as Carter Nixon looked like he landed on somebody's foot. He is okay. He's going to try to walk it off. So back and forth we go, Tyler. Who said these two teams don't play finesse basketball?
Well, Atwater hits the big three on one end, and then Riverton right down the floor. It was kind of a rush shot. You want to hurry and answer back, and you get the bank shot. The bank is open for Johnson. As soon as Davis hits that, you can see, Riverton antsy to get back and hit a three of their own.
And now they're applying some good pressure defense. Atwater into the post, double team, lost control of it. Shot clock down to 15. Alex Fisher with it out front. Cross court swing. Taylor for three. That's off the back rim. Johnson fighting for the rebound, gets it. Here comes Allred in transition, and we're going to get a foul against Caleb Taylor. Blocking foul. That's his first, team third. With 1:25 and counting to go here in the first quarter as Nixon goes back in. Henniger goes in. Christian Henniger goes in, and now Jackson Karakis comes in as well. Coleman Atwater to the bench. The chess match already beginning between these two coaches, tactically.
With the physicality and pressure that Riverton's playing with, you see they like to get those subs quick.
Henniger, the offensive rebound. We talked about it in the open. That's something that Davis is going to have to deal with all night long.
Henninger checks into the game right then and makes a quick impact. That's what you want from your bench guys.
Traveling violation on Zach Fisher. Already the fifth turnover for Davis in the first 7 minutes. As we're under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Maybe a 2-for-1 opportunity here for Riverton if they want it. Morgan Drake there on Caden Allred. Karakis now. He still has not taken a shot yet in the last few minutes. That pass went through traffic. Shot clock down to 10. Lob, I think, was trying to go to Henniger. It didn't work out. Davis could push here if they want to. And Alex Fisher obliges.
Davis had the chance to possibly hold it for the last shot, but Fisher says, I'll just get the 3 points right now, steps into it in rhythm.
Our fourth tie of this first quarter. Expect this to be the kind of game we see, folks. Shot clock shut off. Here's a 10, now it's 7. Cross court, into the corner for Barris. Barris covered up. Nixon with one, gets it off, and it's blocked. That's the end of quarter one. What a game we are in for here tonight at Riverton. The game tied at 11 after 8 minutes of play. The second round of the UHSAA playoffs continues next on KSLSports.com.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
Welcome back. Second quarter of play between Davis and Riverton, the second round of the UHSAA 6A boys basketball playoffs. KSL Sports Rewind's coverage is presented by UCCU. Alexander Timolip with the Layton graduate, class of 2017, Tyler Gibb here next to me. Tyler, as expected, tight, tense defensive first quarter.
You can see how the game speeds up in the playoffs. Both teams, a lot of deflections. Players are just sped up a little bit because it's the playoffs. There's that extra sense of urgency. Both teams just trying to find that way to get buckets. You see Davis not able to get a ton going offensively, but 2 threes in the second half of the first quarter can hopefully open things up. Riverton got to find a way to get it inside in the paint.
Davis hit 4, their final 6 field goals in that first quarter as Jackson Karakis finally on the board with his first points of the game.
Karakis is unbelievable at making the tough shots. He does it as good as anybody. 2 hands in his face on that one, fading away. It makes it look easy.
forehands across his face if you think about it. As Agate lost that out of bounds. It goes back to Riverton. Alex Fisher back in, Taylor out. For a little more speed factor, I think, for Chad Sims' team right now. Turnovers are currently 7-5 in favor of the Silverwolves, a +2 differential. Not exactly the prettiest first quarter by any stretch, as we're going to get a holding foul underneath.
Henninger has come in and made a big difference for Riverton. He got the quick offensive rebound and layup when he first checked into the game. That last possession, he was the one who fed it to Karakis for the jumper. He's been a presence inside.
Barris, Karakis tries it again. This time too strong. Morgan the rebound. Davis not really known as a team that can push the tempo, but they have done it here to some success here in the first half. Caden Agate, offensive foul.
The second charge tonight, taken by Riverton.
Second charge that Riverton's drawn tonight. 8 turnovers now in the first couple of minutes for Davis as Coleman Atwater gets set to check back in. As Johnson, or rather that's Allred, excuse me, hits the 3 from the wing side. And Riverton's out to a 5-point lead here. Pass deflected out of bounds. It'll stay here.
Skylar Wilson, he's playing just as good a defense on the sideline as his team is. You can see him very active, getting his guys, put some pressure in, communicating. It's what you love to see out of a head coach.
They've done it to perfection so far, forced 8 turnovers, but Riverton's also turned it over 5 times. It has been that kind of a game that we expected. Shot clock down to 15. Fisher into the paint, doubled up, kicks it out, and that 3 off the mark from Colby Wicker, and the rebound taken, and in transition, here comes Riverton. Henninger, back it goes. Karakis from 13, too strong. Rebound tipped, and another 35 here for Riverton.
That's Henninger again, creating the extra possession.
And there's Henninger with the jam! 7 consecutive points! And a timeout is called by Chad Sims.
Henninger creates the extra chance. You might as well reward him, and he punishes Davis with the one-handed slam.
It's a full timeout. We will take it with them. The Wolves stand rocking in Riverton. Silverwolves up by 7 at the timeout.
It's time for another round of... All right, contestants, name that sound.
Lettuce.
Oh, you think that sound is lettuce?
I wish it was.
David, our resident champion from Ken Garf.
That's the intern Dale, cracking ice for a soda. Correct.
And that's why you need a Ken Garf dealership. If they listen this well, imagine how well they'll hear you.
Back here at Riverton High School, Alexander Timolip alongside Tyler Gibb. Well, Tyler, we were just talking about it before the break. Christian Henninger making an impact off the bench thus far for Davis, or for Riverton, excuse me. Now the question is, how does Davis respond?
This was the point on Wednesday in the Weber game that Davis, they were trailing, they were down 15-13, and they blitzed them for a 17-4 run to end the half. They had 7 straight possessions where they got a bucket, so if you're Riverton, you've struggled in the first half in the past, but tonight you're playing great, so you got to close it out strong because you know Davis is going to try to get a big push before halftime.
Caden Agate, who checked back in at the last time out. Alex Fisher thought about the 3, gives it over to Agate. Now Coleman Atwater behind the screen. And now here comes Allred, and now they want to push it. Here comes Johnson. Coaching 5 to go here in the quarter. In the corner, Johnson wide open, Yahtzee!
Great find from Allred. He saw the double come in the pressure, and he made a skip pass. There was one guy on the wing, and then it was Johnson in the corner, and he skipped it to Johnson right in rhythm, and Johnson did the rest.
A 10-0 run by Riverton. .15 on the shot clock. Lob up top. Nice pass. Fisher cannot finish it. There's a lid on the rim at that end right now for Davis.
Just one of those stretches if you're Davis. You got to weather the storm. You're not getting the easy ones to fall. Riverton's making everything. Weather the storm. You'll have your chance to come back, but you got to flip the tide soon. Get some momentum, and there you go. Big play.
And Caden Eye with Stratton Johnson chasing him down. That's the kind of energy that wins playoff games.
A little bit of a lazy bounce pass going in, but making up for it on the other end. A dead sprint. Eggett thought he had the breakaway, but Johnson hustled back.
Alex Fisher, a much-needed three for the Davis Darts. It breaks a scoring drought of over 5 minutes as Carter Nixon has to put his shoe back on, coming sprinting back up the floor. That ends a 10-0 Davis run at a scoring drought for the Darts that lasted about 4.5 minutes. Johnson tries it again. Fought for the rebound. Davis ball. Well, with 3:45 and counting here in the first half, Tyler, Davis has got to make a move, and that three by Alex Fisher certainly helps.
Well, one thing that's been interesting about Davis in 4 of their last 6 games, whether it's been them or their opponent, somebody's outscored the other team by 10 or more in a quarter, and it's been heading that way for Riverton. They're +7 in the second quarter. So Davis has either had a big quarter or given up a big quarter lately, and that makes a big difference in these games. So if you're Davis, try not to let this extend to double digits. Work your way back, regroup at halftime.
Inbound comes in from the baseline. And here's Alex Fisher out front. Coleman Atwater thought about the three, kicks it, one more. Zach Fisher trying to spin, gets to the paint, and he is fouled. So the second team foul called on Riverton, and it'll be another inbound underneath, and the shot clock resets once more. Edwards called for the foul, his first. Alex Fisher whips it out. Coleman Atwater into the corner. Zach Fisher stepped on the end line.
Whether it's the home court advantage or not, Riverton has been the active, aggressive, and physical team tonight. They've been flying all over on defense, creating turnovers, and that energy from the crowd just keeps giving that momentum to keep it up.
Coleman Atwater, what a job he did to get on the floor. We're going to get a tie-up. Doesn't matter. The possession arrow favors Davis. The 7th turnover for Riverton here in this first half. Davis, you know, Tyler, for all the turnovers that Davis has forced, they're still somehow only down by 7, as Skylar Wilson's going to take a 30-second timeout.
Yeah, they've been creating and forcing turnovers of their own, and they're a team that can do that. They play pressure defense and are very good at getting deflections and steals, and that's how they'll work their way back into it and keep them in this game.
KSLSports.com and the Rewind Sports Network's presentation of the UHSAA playoffs is presented all season long, and in the playoffs especially by UCCU. It's also presented by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm committed to winning for their clients. Book your free consultation with them courtesy of the Rewind Sports Network by calling them at 801-754-4240, or you can contact them online at utah.law. Alexander Timolipin, Tyler Gibb here at Riverton High School. Well, Riverton went on a 10-0 run, but Alex Fisher hit that three to keep Davis within striking distance, and now they need to start taking advantage of these opportunities that they've been given.
Yeah, they've kept Riverton. Riverton's been at 21 for the last couple of minutes, so Davis hasn't let them extend anything, but you need to start getting shots to go in yourself. They've only hit the 1-3 in this quarter, so one field goal made in 5 minutes. You got to do more if you want to keep Riverton from extending the lead.
Here's Ike Morgan now. Morgan gets to the baseline. Caleb Taylor, another three. Why not? And
Beautiful
just like
play.
just like that, it's a 4-point game.
Chad
2 quick
Sims out of the
threes.
timeout gets that, and Caleb Taylor was the one who hit the three to start the 17-4 run against Weber. Gets a great look in the corner, knocks it down, and you see some active hands on defense again.
Oh, what a great backdoor pass. As Stratton Johnson gets hammered. And that is going to be called on Caden Eggett. And Stratton Johnson will head to the line to shoot 2 shots. And that's already Caden Eggett's 3rd foul in over a quarter and a half. And for a guy that plays a lot of minutes, Tyler, like Caden Eggett, that's pretty big for Chad Sims.
And Davis doesn't have a ton of height inside, but Caden Eggett is one of those guys that plays physical. He's strong. And you saw when Henninger was in coming off the bench, he was able to get some of those looks inside. So you want to keep Caden Eggett out of foul trouble and have him rested for the second half. It looks like they'll sit him for the final 2:30 of this half.
Not a long way to go here in this first half. Only 2:33. Stratton Johnson makes both. And the Riverton lead back up to 6. They led by as many as 10, but Davis got it to 4 just a couple of seconds ago. Ike Morgan somehow kept his pivot foot down. Coleman Atwater finds Ike Morgan in the corner for 3. That's no good. Fight for the rebound. Edwards is able to save it, but it goes right to Fisher. And then that pass is deflected. Coleman Atwater gets his hand on it, and it's deflected out of bounds. It'll remain Davis ball.
Basketball's a beautiful game, isn't it?
Yeah, not there though. Much to the chagrin, I think, of some people at home. But you know what? People don't think that's basketball. I say, well, this is life, basically.
You can see how
Just
important
chaos.
every possession is. They're trying to treasure the basketball and get after it. Both teams not letting anybody secure it.
Well, guess what? Davis going to call another timeout here. Another 30-second timeout. And they are down. The scoreboard here says, I believe they're down to 3 timeouts. So the chess match between these, I mean, if you like tactical kind of, I don't even know if that's a word, but if you like tactical kind of basketball, you probably love this game right now because this is 2 of the best going at it right now, Tyler.
Yeah, Chad Sims is a very experienced coach, and we've seen the last few timeouts. If you remember 2 timeouts ago, they came out and had that alley-oop where they got that beautiful look for a layup. They missed it, unfortunately, but drew up a great play out of that timeout. And then the previous one, they got the Taylor 3 in the corner. So with 2 minutes left in this half, it's a 6-point game. You could really take the momentum into the break if you get a good look. You've got to think Chad Sims has a play in mind that he's drawing up.
And guess what, Tyler? You told me before the game came on the air, Riverton's been tied or trailing at halftime in half of their games this season. They've won 9 of them.
They're 9-4 when tied or trailing at
That's
halftime,
ridiculous.
which is unbelievable. They played 23 games. So you look at that, only 10 of their games they've been leading at halftime, yet they have a 17-6 record. So this team knows how to come out in the second half. They know how to play from behind. So if you're Davis, you just got to stay in it. Obviously, probably not going to be leading at halftime if you're Davis, but regroup in the second half, and it's the playoffs. So anything can change. Buck those season trends out of there. Anything changes in the second half.
Now the officials are getting together here at the halfway line, and I'm suspecting they're trying to figure out if the shot clock should be reset. It reached 28 right now, but remember, the ball stays with Davis, and no one had firm and clear possession of the ball, Tyler, as it went out of bounds. So that's what the debate is right now, if the shot clock should be reset.
If you're the officials with no instant replay, it's very difficult to remember what happened because the ball transitioned back and forth about 6 different times. It looks like they'll put 22 on the shot clock.
Yeah, the ball changed hands about 3 or 4 times during that scramble. But it ended up with Davis, and so now they have to figure out, of course, how much time was left on the shot clock, and now we're going to get a foul, and now it's going to reset back to 35. Foul called there on Logan Dunfield, his second, team third. Remember, the next Davis foul will put Riverton in the bonus.
Only 10 seconds on the shot clock, and Davis didn't look like they had much going for him. and you're 5 feet beyond the three-point line, you want to stay disciplined and not give them a fresh 35 in that situation.
Henniger comes back in. Logan Dunfield has not taken a shot. He has not scored. Crazy. Ike Morgan along the baseline. Pass. Almost got deflected out, and then no one was able to locate where the pass was. There were two guys in the same area. It'll go back to Riverton. That's 11 turnovers for Davis here in this first half, and Chad Sims is looking at his players saying, "What's up? What's up with your heads?" Normally it's Davis creating the turnovers, not normally doing that, as Stratton Johnson throws that one away.
Both teams getting a little sloppy in the last couple minutes of the half.
11 turnovers for Davis, 8 for Riverton. The scoring in this quarter has been less than stellar, to say the least, as Ike Morgan passed up on a wide open three. Coleman Atwater now into the corner. Alex Fisher tries. He can't hit the three, and Henniger tips the rebound into the hands of Jackson Karakis. He who only has 2 points here in this first half. 1 minute to go here in the first half. Riverton has led by as many as 10. It was cut to 4, and they now lead by 6. Only with Jackson Karakis scoring 2 points, and he misses that field goal off the side of the rim, and here comes Atwater. Maybe a 2-for-1 opportunity here if they hurry. And Atwater gets it around the perimeter. They come. Here's Zach Fisher. Now back to Atwater. Chad Sims yelling at his star player Coleman Atwater to start moving. 10 seconds on the shot clock.
Got to look to attack.
Someone's got to put it up. Zach Fisher gladly will, and scores. And he got the foul too.
They whistle Henninger for the foul on the back end, and Skylar Wilson, along with the rest of the Riverton crowd, is not happy with the call. It looked like there wasn't a ton of contact. Maybe there was a bump on the backside. But you see Fisher, he has the bigger, taller Henninger on him, but he doesn't hesitate. As soon as he gets it up top, he takes a quick dribble, hard first step, and he gets by him for the basket. And that's, you have Henninger in there, but if you bring him out to the perimeter, that's when you're able to get that speed to go by into the middle.
Zach Fisher now makes it a 3-point game with under 16 to go. Shot clock has been disabled. Caleb Taylor checked in at that last timeout. Nielsen doubled. Karakis with 3. Karakis double, puts up the tough shot, and it goes in!
Unbelievable shot making. We talked about his ability to make the toughest shots, and he only made 2 baskets, and they were both very difficult. Probably his 2 toughest attempts on the night, but that's what he does so well.
Wow, what a first half. A sloppy slugfest of a first half. Davis will take Riverton will take a 5-point lead into the locker room, and I think if you're Davis, you have to be feeling really good about your chances right now. Only down by 5 here at the half.
Yeah, you struggle to get any sort of rhythm. We know, Davis has a lot of guys that can shoot. They can all knock it down from outside. So if they get it going in the second half, they have that ability to put up a lot of points quick. And we've seen kind of a trend with Davis throughout the year. A little bit of slower stretches, and then they pour it on in quick spurts. So we'll see if they can put one of those together in the second half.
It's going to be an interesting second half. Riverton and Davis, nothing to separate them in that first half. It was a 10-point game, but Davis is creeping back into it. They're only down by 5 at the half. Back after this message from our sponsors to start the second half.
It's time for another round of All right, contestants, name that sound.
Lettuce.
Oh, you think that sound is lettuce?
I wish it was.
David, our resident champion from Ken Garf.
That's the intern Dale, cracking ice for a soda.
Correct.
And that's why you need a Ken Garf dealership. If they listen this well, imagine how well they'll hear you.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
It all starts with a smile. To show you care, offer a sign of love, welcome someone home. Even when we don't see each other, or share a room, even without words, smiles bring us together. Let's keep yours healthy. Stonehaven Dental. Schedule online at stonehavendental.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
Before we go any further, we'd like to remind you that the Utah Jazz Camps and Clinics are available now with options at the state-of-the-art Shoot 360 facilities and the local gymnasiums throughout Utah and Idaho for your child to level up their shooting, passing, and ball handling skills. And each camper is going to get a Utah Jazz swag bag. You can register today at utahjazzcamps.com. Next camp up is tomorrow, the Shoot 360 Clinic. And if you missed that one, don't worry, folks. There's plenty more, including on March 13th when the Nets on Fire Clinic begins. Alexander Timolip and the Layton graduate class of 2017, Tyler Gibb here at Riverton High School for the second round of the UHSAA 6A boys basketball playoffs on the Rewind Sports Network. Our coverage presented by UCCU. Tyler, well, I mean, Davis should really be down more right now, but their defense has been single-handedly keeping them in it, despite the fact they've been giving up a lot of size in the paint.
Yeah, Davis doesn't have a ton of size in there, and Caden Eggett was dealing with foul trouble, so that didn't help. And you look at the turnover battle. Davis has 8 turnovers to Riverton's 6, so both teams with a healthy amount of turnovers. But where the big difference has been, Davis has scored 9 points off of the Riverton 6 turnovers, and Riverton's only been able to get 5 points off of the Davis giveaways. So Davis doing a good job of making sure that they're getting back in transition and not letting those turnovers hurt them on the other end. But you've got to clean it up really from both sides. And if you're Davis, you need to play clean in order to work your way back in the second half and take this one.
Yeah, Riverton was up by 10 about midway through the second quarter, but since then, Davis has done a good job, as you said, Tyler, of weathering the storm in that first part of the second quarter, and now this is where it really matters. As Riverton staring down the possibility of being 16 minutes away from advancing to the D Event Center for the first time in their program's history, in what arguably is the biggest home game in the tenure of Skylar Wilson. Same starting fives as we start the third quarter. Jackson Karakis only has 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting, according to the stats we were given by the Pettingles. As that lob pass goes on the block to Logan Dunfield, who was a non-factor in that first half, and that pass is taken away by Coleman Atwater. Davis got it as close as 4 late in that second quarter. They now have a chance to cut further into the deficit. Coleman Atwater to oblige. He misses that 3 short, but the rebound rattles through traffic, and it'll stay here.
If you're the Darts, in that first half, they only took 5 shots inside the three-point line. So although, you can live and die by the 3, and they shot the 3 decent, they were 5 of 13 in the first half, but they only took 5 shots inside the three-point line. You got to look to get a little bit of diversity in your offense and try to attack to create the open looks. You can't just settle and live outside the three-point line.
Alex Fisher misses that 3, short off the front of the rim. Here comes the Silverwolves in transition.
3 out of every 4 shots now tonight have been a 3 for the Darts.
Yeah, that's not going to get it done. Jackson Karakis! Finally into the scorebook, his first triple of the ball game. And the lead back to 8.
He hit that tough buzzer beater to end the first half. He was sitting on that all throughout halftime. You got to think he was excited to get his first shot up to start the second half.
Zach Fisher, that pass deflected off the bottom of the rim. Now here comes Kobe Nielsen in transition. Silverwolves are led by as many as 10 points, despite turning the ball over a half a dozen times. Dunfield gets capped to the summit. And now here comes Alex Fisher the other way. Ike Morgan in transition. Alex Fisher thought about it. Now drives the lane, kicks it out. Atwater. Good defense from Stratton Johnson. And his pass deflected and is going to roll into the backcourt. But Caden Eggett is going to get fouled going for the loose ball. And Riverton.
Kobe Nielsen is down. He made a great hustle play.
And he's down.
It's actually amazing that he was able to jump and tap that to keep it back in. Looks like he's up. He's hobbling a little bit, but hopefully he can stay in.
Henniger is going to check in for Dunfield. And we talked about it. Dunfield was largely a non-factor in that first half. Interesting that, Davis has done such a good job of keeping him out of their offensive system here, but yet they're still down by 8.
Yeah, Riverton only has 2 guys that average double figures. It's Karakis and Dunfield had 0 in the first half. Karakis only had 4. So if you're Riverton, you have to be pleased that you go into the half with a lead, and it's been the other guys that have been doing the dirty work for you, and hopefully you can get Karakis and Dunfield a big second half.
Caden Eggett checks back in, by the way. He's got 3 fouls. That pass somehow made it to Ike Morgan. Caden Eggett inside. Tipped up. Henniger gets the rebound. And now here comes Kobe Nielsen the other way. Stratton Johnson streaking up the floor. Was open in the corner. They didn't take it. Karakis goes up strong. That doesn't go. And Henniger is fouled going for the rebound.
This is a great matchup for Henninger. Nobody that can really match up size-wise with him, and he's making Davis pay, crashing the offensive glass.
He's got to have at least a couple of offensive rebounds, according to the stats the Pettingills gave us.
That's his second offensive rebound, but if you remember, there was that tap out that led to a dunk for him. He doesn't get credit for the offensive rebound, but he was the one who created it.
Well, with this free throw, Henniger could give or equal Riverton's largest lead of the game at 10, and he does. 5 quick points to start the second half. And Davis now staring down a 10-point deficit. Alex Fisher. That pass deflected and stolen. Here comes Karakis in transition.
Davis fans wanted steps on Johnson.
Atwater draped on Karakis. Karakis has just had no room to operate offensively. 15 on the shot clock. And that ball hit off the rim, and so the ball's dead.
I think they were talking about resetting the shot clock. It looks like they did reset the shot clock. That's the only reason I can imagine they blew the whistle. But the shot clock did reset.
It wasn't a shot under the letter of the law. It was more of a pass than anything. But it still hit the rim.
Looks like they bring the shot clock back down to 14.
Yeah, it wasn't technically a shot by the letter of the law, so good on the officials led by crew chief Jana Page to catch that. So now the shot clock down to 10 here. Here's Johnson. And he gets it taken away, but he is fouled by Taylor. And Taylor not very demonstrative about that.
This whole possession, it's been building up for the Davis side. They wanted to travel on Johnson, and then Karakis, they thought, took some steps, and then that foul late in the shot clock. So 3 calls that the Darts, could have gone either way. May have gotten the bad whistle on this possession.
Pass is deflected and stolen. Morgan coming up the other way with it. Morgan, out it comes Taylor. Alex Fisher for 3. That's not good. Zach Fisher going up, but Kobe Nielsen out jumps him, and that pass goes out of bounds. It'll go back to Davis.
Davis has done a decent job, especially I feel in the second half, of actually getting some penetration and getting inside. They've kicked it out almost every time, which, if you have the open look, you want to do that, but try to look for some shots inside as well.
Every possession becoming critical now as that pass is stolen by Johnson. He goes strong, blocked by Atwater, but he stepped on the baseline. It'll stay here.
It's pretty impressive by Atwater. He didn't know if it was a block or steal. It kind of fell into his hands, but he just goes up and takes it.
New 35 here. We're going to get an offensive foul on Nielsen.
They tried to get Karakis to go on a screen baseline, and they had him open, but there's a reason he was so open. Nielsen got caught with the illegal screen.
And meanwhile, Chad Sims, as ever, getting in the face of his point guard, Ike Morgan, saying you got to come up defensively into his face. Coleman, Atwater, they need it. They definitely get it!
Midway through the third quarter, just same as the second quarter. They get their first basket midway through the quarter. See if they can start piling on the baskets.
Well, they've been able to get the stops. They just have not been able to get the scores. That's the problem right now is Taylor gets the steal and he is fouled. How many times have I said that tonight?
Well, Henninger had, it was Zach Edwards. He had Zach Edwards open on the block, but a good job by Taylor to jump up and get his hands in the passing lanes. That's where when you're Henninger, you see him open, you want to rush to get him the ball, but just slow it down. You can either bounce past that underneath Taylor or just be patient. Davis doing a good job getting their hands in the passing lanes.
A 30-second timeout called by Skylar Wilson. No need for us to go anywhere. We'll keep it here. I mean, Tyler, the darts are right in this ball game. They've been within striking distance for most of this game, despite having their largest deficit being 10. But where are they going wrong, do you think, right now on the offensive end and not taking advantage of these opportunities?
They're just settling too much. And honestly, I wouldn't even know if settling is the right word because they have been attacking more. But you need to try to look inside. Instead of just staying on the three-point line and having four guys stay out there when you drive, look to get some cutters on the penetration. And that's where you're going to open up the offense more. They have 18 of their 23 points coming from the three-point line. So you're lucky that it's only 7 right now, and while the three-point line can get you back into the game quick, you don't need to do that right now. There's still 12 minutes left. Work to get the shots inside.
Allred, Barris, and Nixon in at that last timeout as the darts will bring it up. Fisher back out. Atwater matched up against Ben Barris now. Zach Fisher drives to the baseline and lost it on the baseline.
You see no darts were inside the paint when he drove. They were all the three-point line.
Ben Barris to the basket, rolls off the rim. And here comes Ike Morgan in transition. Up ahead it comes Zach Fisher. Drives, kicks it out. Taylor for three, got partially deflected by Stratton Johnson. Darts have just been unable to pair scores, which stops as Taylor comes up with a steal. Now in transition, looks up. Atwater, one more. Alex Fisher. That one's short. Nothing's fallen from beyond the arc for Davis. What's been a slugfest here so far in this one. Riverton getting the upper hand offensively. Davis getting the upper hand defensively. Shot clock to 15. Stratton Johnson, corner three. Rattles out. And here comes Atwater. Can the Darts finally get a basket? They've been as close as 4 points. No closer. Caleb Taylor banks off, won't go. Tipped into the backcourt. It will still be Davis ball as it was tipped. And it's a new 35. That pass deflected, and Zach Fisher gets there ahead.
Riverton's playing up. That's a time where you can blow by and get inside.
Taylor can't hit the three. And eventually, Allred comes down with the rebound.
You have to mix it up. If the shots aren't falling from deep, mix it up.
Pass almost went out of bounds. Barris wasn't in the same area as the pass. As it's Johnson now out front. Johnson gets trapped. Looks for the cutter to Barris for three. No good. Atwater the rebound. So both teams getting a little free happy here late on here in the third quarter. One minute 13 left here in the quarter. Gets Zach Fisher and the duck. Yes, he can! The closest Davis has been in this game. Timeout called by Chad Sims.
There's been a lid on the basket for a while. Davis, slowly working their way. The three ball, you live and die by it, and they're working their way back in with it. We'll see if they can, if they can keep slowing down Riverton to keep it so they can just launch from deep.
You know, does this favor Davis in the long run, this kind of slow, deliberate pace? Because it seems like Davis has been able to dictate the tempo for most of the night, Tyler, and yet they're down by 4 points.
Davis, especially in the second half, they have dictated the tempo. Riverton hasn't had any sort of flow, it seems, offensively. Now, Davis has been getting good looks from three. You got to try to mix it up a little bit so that you're not only doing the same thing every time, but they have got good looks. So, Skylar Wilson, he's got to figure out how can he get Riverton to just, slow it down a little bit. You have the lead, and really this is a position that Riverton's been in less often by having the lead in the second half. We said they've trailed, in 13 of their 23 games in the second half. So, you have the lead. It's in the playoffs. Just slow it down. You don't need to force anything or blow them out. Just make sure you get smart possessions.
Well, Davis trailed by as many as 10. And since then, they've been able to slowly claw their way back into it with 1:07 to go. And this is where every possession now counts. With 9 minutes to go here in this quarterfinal. 1 left here in the third. Dunfield comes back in.
Riverton needs to find a way to get Karakis and Dunfield involved.
That's what I was about to say. Here he is in the high post to Dunfield. Back out the corner. Barris for 3. Off the mark. Dunfield, the offensive rebound. Goes back out strong. No. And a foul. On cue. There he is. Both of them. It's Karakis taking the initial pass, and then it's Dunfield with the offensive board.
Dunfield, in terms of scoring, hasn't done much tonight. So that's why you got to insert yourself in other ways, and he does that. Crashing the offensive glass, gets himself to the line.
Davis has just been dominated in the paint really all night long. They had 10 first. They gave up 10 points in the paint in the first half as Dunfield misses the first. Next Tuesday, the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com is headed to the Purple Palace. Catch all the action as Dusty Litster, Dane Stewart, and some special guests take in the 5 and 6A quarterfinals. Coverage starts next Tuesday morning, 9:30 a.m., bright and early from the D Event Center on your home for KSL Sports Rewind's coverage of the UHSAA 6A and 5A boys basketball playoffs and girls basketball playoffs as Caleb Taylor picks up his 4th foul as we head down the stretch into the 4th quarter.
Riverton drops back to a 1-3-1 zone.
Barris takes advantage.
Good move by Skylar Wilson to mix it up.
Another double out front. And a blocking foul called on Ben Barris as he was trying to take the charge. Shot clock has been disabled. 16.8 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter.
And that's what you have to do if you're struggling offensively. Wilson realizes that for the Silverwolves, and he says, hey, let's try to create something on the defensive end that can get us those easy baskets. And they get their easiest 2 of the night by putting that pressure on Davis.
16.8. Ike Morgan. Probably got away with a carry right there. Caden Agate thought about the 3. Alex Fisher. 7 seconds to shoot. Into the corner. Zach Fisher. Can they get it? No. Tipped out. That's the end of the quarter. And we will head to the 4th quarter with the Riverton Silverwolves leading by 7 points. Who's going to make the bigger plays? One team moves on, one team goes home. We will decide next on KSLSports.com.
It's time for another round of All right, contestants, name that sound.
Lettuce.
Oh, you think that sound is lettuce?
I wish it was.
David, our resident champion from Ken Garf.
That's the intern Dale, cracking ice for a soda.
Correct.
And that's why you need a Ken Garf dealership. If they listen this well, imagine how well they'll hear you.
Well, buckle up, folks. Alex Timmelip alongside my broadcast partner, Tyler Gibb, ready for the start of the 4th quarter between Davis and Riverton. The winner of this game plays Pleasant Grove or Lone Peak next Tuesday in the quarterfinals. in the D Event Center in Ogden, Utah. And Tyler, knowing both of these teams, we are far from deciding this here in the final 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's a 7-point game. With the way that this game has been going, it's kind of like it's almost a 14-point lead for Riverton because it's been so defensive-minded and points have been hard to come by. But we know that that can quickly change. If you get a few possessions, you get hot. But Davis is going to have to find more of a rhythm.
Here's Caden Agate against Logan Dunfield. He's been a non-factor tonight, both on the offensive and defensive end. Fisher goes up, can't get the shot to fall. That doesn't go either. But we're going to get a foul.
Davis wants free throws, but they call it on the ground.
I don't think it was a shooting foul. I didn't think it was at all. It was on the rebound.
Yeah, Agate jumped up, came down with the rebound, and that's where they called the foul and then quickly went back up. But a good job by Davis to get inside and try to find some shots at the rim.
And before the ball's inbounded, we got another foul.
That's 6 on Riverton, so Davis will be shooting free throws the rest of the way.
Yep, 1-and-1. Next foul. Skylar Wilson now asking umpire Bryce McCowan what the call was about. As the scorers are trying to straighten out how many fouls the player that was called on has.
Coach Wilson is upset. He thinks that the foul was supposed to go against Barris, but they're going to put it against, it looks like they're giving it to Nielsen. I think that'll put him in a little bit of foul trouble, so Wilson's upset with who the foul's against.
Actually, the foul's against Dunfield, so that's number 4. So I think that's what he was upset about. Well, it's been that kind of a night. I feel really bad for this poor officiating crew under the direction of crew chief Janet Page. They have just been getting their tails worked all night long. Timeout, full signal by Skylar Wilson. We'll let everybody catch their breath, and we'll be back.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 2 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
Out of the timeout we come. Davis will inbound underneath their own goal. Alexander Tmolip, Tyler Gibb. 7 3/4 minutes left in regulation. We are by no means done here at Riverton High School, deciding this one. Coleman Atwater, crossover, pull up 15. Yes! 5 points the difference.
You can see they put an emphasis on getting inside more. He had Agate open down low by the hoop, but Atwater, an open for the jumper, and he'll knock that down.
That pass. And that's stepped on the baseline. That is Davis ball. The momentum starting to shift a little bit here.
Jackson Karakis just checked into the game, and you can see him look at his teammates. Says, hey, let's calm down a little bit. We're fine. And that's what you see from your leader. You see if he can get Riverton into a flow.
Caden Agate matched up against Zach Edwards. Back out. Zach Fisher puts his head down. Alex Fisher jumped by Jackson Karakis. 15 on the shot clock. In the hands of Coleman Atwater, who hit every big shot they needed to last time out against Weber. Here he is, spinning, turnaround shot, rolls around, it's ejected from the rim. Alex Fisher grabs the rebound and hit the bottom of the backboard. It's a dead ball. It will go back to Riverton. Davis wants a tip, but it was off of Alex Fisher last. He threw it off the bottom of the backboard.
That was a fantastic move by Atwater. You can see he's getting a little bit of confidence going to the basket now, and somehow it found its way to roll out. But Davis getting good looks in the first minute of the fourth quarter.
5-point game. Closest Davis has been is 4. So much at stake. As we're going to get a reach-in foul on Caden Eggett, and that's number 4, Chad Sims. Not happy with his star forward. So now Eggett has 4. Dunfield has 4. The 2 power forwards in a bit of foul trouble here. Riverton will be putting Davis in the 1-on-1 bonus on the next foul, by the way. That pass is deflected and stolen. Here comes Ike Morgan. Approaching 6 to go in regulation. Atwater dives, kicks it out. Zach Fisher to the basket.
It's the penetration by Atwater, gets the defense on their toes, and then Fisher, as soon as he gets it, instead of taking the jumper, he had some space, he immediately turns and goes to the basket, leads to the layup.
And now here comes Atwater in transition. Lost control of it for a second. Fisher sets, fires, can't connect. Eggett the offensive board, can't finish it. A long toss ahead, Jackson Karakis in transition, lays it up and in. Where have you been, Mr. Jackson Karakis?
4-point swing, the missed layup on one end, and a great job immediately turning, getting your eyes up and seeing that Karakis is ahead of the field, and he lays it in as Ike Morgan tried to trail, but good finish from Karakis.
First field goal of the second half. Coleman Atwater answers back with the darts.
It's been Atwater's 4th quarter. He's turned this Davis offense around, getting penetration and hitting shots.
And we're going to get another offensive foul. Oh, how the tables have turned, Tyler Gibb. We told you, folks, it's not over.
It's been Riverton. It has the crowd on their side all night, but just these last few minutes, this Davis crowd right in front of us, they've been creating a lot of noise. It's flipped. Almost feels like a Davis home game right now. Riverton's got to do something to get the momentum back.
Well, except for the fact that we're not surrounded by a cavernous roof that's like 3 feet in front of our heads. That's the difference. The intensity's been turned up. Ike Morgan kicks it out. Fisher sets, fires, can't connect. Offensive rebound chance, scramble for it, on the floor. Timeout called by Davis.
Heads up play by Fisher. Hustles for the loose ball, immediately looks to the ref. He knows he didn't have anywhere to go. He was on the baseline, 2 Riverton guys around him, and immediately looks for the timeout. Heads up play.
That's Davis's second to last timeout. They have only 1 more left. Tyler Gibb, this whole place, this whole game has just turned on its head. What's gotten Davis back into this? I think we know the answer, but I just want to hear you say it for the folks at home.
It's been Coleman Atwater, and I love what Coach Sims has done in the 4th quarter. We saw a lot in the 3rd quarter. They'd start with everybody out on the perimeter, maybe have Fisher inside. But what they've done is they've started with both Atwater and Eggett down on the block, and they'll run them up to get Eggett a screen and work the 2-man game that way. So they're starting with a bigger presence inside and then forcing everybody out, and it's creating, open lanes for them to drive. And instead of settling when they get that ball open on the 3-point line, they've instead looked to attack immediately, and it's kept Riverton a little off balance on defense.
Logan Dunfield has 4 fouls. On the other side, Caden Eggett 4 fouls. Alexander Timberlake, Tyler Gibb. Riverton in the bonus. 4 3/4 minutes to go. 2-point game.
There's that pick and roll. They get Eggett going with Atwater.
Yeah, we're going to get a blocking foul called against Allred. The 18th foul on Riverton. 1-1 for Coleman Atwater, who has seemingly taken over this entire building here in the 4th.
And let's not dismiss the fact that Atwater is a sophomore doing this in the playoffs. This is incredible to see the poise from a sophomore in the 4th quarter, and this isn't a one-off thing. He did this in the 1st round against Weber.
He gets the bonus.
Didn't even touch the rim.
I think it's a miss for him if it touches the rim. As Caleb Taylor checks back in. Skylar Wilson going to leave the 5 he's got out there right now with Dunfield having the 4 fouls. Misses the second. But it remains a 1-point game, the closest that Davis has been.
Based on these last few minutes, it feels like Davis is winning, but if you're Riverton, just settle down. You still got the lead.
Karakis, tough shot, leaves it short. Atwater the rebound. Here he comes up the floor. The sophomore Coleman Atwater, who had every answer for Weber in that game on Wednesday. Can he do it one more time? Pass deflected, and we're going to get a foul. As we're going to have another one-on-one scenario, and now a chance for Alex Fisher to go to the line to potentially give the Darts the lead. Or rather, it's Agate, excuse me. As Skylar Wilson, you see down here, Mike Christensen's putting the camera on him, is vehemently protesting to the officials. 1-on-1 for Agate. Tie game.
With how physical the game has been, it's a tough game for the officials, too, because there's a lot of loose balls and scrambles. And although Riverton's upset, and when there's a loose ball like that, it still doesn't give you permission to just go in and foul somebody. So the officials are in a tough spot with the physicality and the loose balls, but they've done a good job, keeping it. Those loose balls, you got to call it both ways. And although Riverton's not happy about it, they get caught reaching.
The Davis Darts lead for the first time since they led 2-0. Under 4 to go as we're going to get a foul on Alex Fisher.
15th foul for Davis, so they still got one more to give before it's bonus for Riverton.
And 3:47 left to go here in regulation time. Still a lot of time left to go. Davis was down 21-11. They now lead by 1. Pass deflected and stolen by Taylor. Morgan drives. Taylor for 3. Air ball. Karakis the rebound. Here comes Edwards. Zach Edwards in transition. Puts it down. Riverton back on top.
If you can't get buckets in the half court, you may as well get them in transition. Karakis skies for the rebound and immediately spots his teammate, and they slam it home.
Morgan inside. Back and forth we go. Foul out front. Caden Agate comes back into the ball game. Tyler, can you even hear me right now?
I can't. We don't have the headset, so when someone makes a basket, we can't even hear each other. This atmosphere is fantastic. Davis has a great showing from their fans. Obviously, Riverton, they've packed the house.
Karakis drives, pull up, top shot, got it, and the contact!
You need your best players to show up in the biggest moments, and Karakis, when Riverton is struggling to get anything going, finds a way to make a tough basket. He just had the assist to Edwards on the dunk a few possessions ago, and this time he gets the jumper himself and has the chance to put the Silverwolves up 2.
What a time for Jackson Karakis to hit the and one. Foul called on Zach Fisher, his second. Riverton is now in the bonus. Davis is in the bonus. As Jackson Karakis makes this a 2-point game. Take it all in, folks. Shot clock at 15. Morgan lost it on the floor. And Arad can't finish. Dunfield underneath.
Dunfield and Karakis finding a way to insert themselves in the game. Great job by Dunfield, staying in the play.
4 points the difference. Zach Fisher sets, fires. Can't connect. Edwards the rebound. Jackson Karakis puts it down. A 7-0 Riverton run. The roof about ready to come off this place here in Riverton.
That's 3 breakaway in transition dunks for Riverton in the fourth quarter alone. The half-court offense hasn't been there, but they've got out and ran, and they've been able to finish. The fact that we've had 3 of those just in this quarter alone in this type of environment, Riverton has been able to find the way to get the baskets when they need them, even if it doesn't come in the way you're used to.
Davis took the lead briefly. They now find themselves down by 2 possessions. 96 seconds left in regulation. Davis only has 1 timeout left. Riverton still has a pair as that pass is deflected out of bounds. It'll stay here. Stratton Johnson saving the day down in the corner.
That's a winning play. You're not going to see anything about that in the box score, but those plays are massive, and there's no need for Riverton to force any passes.
Look out here! Caden Agate! 2-point game again! Game reset once more. Double bonus for Riverton, or for Davis. Bonus for Riverton. Karakis in the post. No! Fisher the rebound. 1 minute left in regulation. Ike Morgan racing up the floor. And a blocking foul called. And Ike Morgan's going to have 2 free throws to potentially tie the game with 55.3 seconds left to go in regulation time.
Riverton fans aren't going to be happy with that call, but I do think it was the right call. He was just barely a little bit behind and moved his body into Ike Morgan.
2 shots.
Riverton has the chance to go 2 for 1. If Morgan does make this and it's tied, that's important to get that extra possession in.
Deadlocked again. Riverton still has 2 timeouts. They will rise. Karakis lost it! Out of bounds, Davis ball! Davis has a timeout. Will they use it? They will.
Mountain Land Power Equipment provides exceptional service and high-quality brands you know and trust in lawn, landscaping, and snow removal products. Our experienced staff of technicians repair all types of snow plows, snow blowers, lawn mowers, small engines, and is trained to answer questions about lawn, garden, snow removal, and landscaping products. Mountain Land Power Equipment, now with 3 locations to serve you in Salt Lake City and Springville.
Wow, what a game we've had. We're tied at 44, 36.4 seconds left. Alexander Timolip and Tyler Gibb here at Riverton. Tyler, who are you drawing this up for here if you're Chad Sims?
you got to get Coleman Atwater in a pick and roll situation. I like having either Eggett or Zach Fisher in that pick and roll situation, but it's been Atwater who's been able to create in the fourth quarter. And Riverton, they've been pretty handsy and reaching in this fourth quarter. We've seen a lot of free throws for Davis. So if you can get attacking downhill, a good chance you're going to either find your way at the free throw line or get a decent look for Atwater inside.
Shot clock reached 28. Both teams are in the bonus, but Davis is in the double bonus. They have no timeouts, Davis does. Riverton still has 2. .28 seconds on the shot clock, 36 on the game clock. Here we go. Fisher looking. Back to Atwater. Shot clock down to 12. Now to 10. Crossover. Behind the screen. Pull up for the lead. He got it! 2 timeouts for Riverton. And they'll use one here. Coleman Atwater with ice in his veins.
You're looking at a sophomore that has come over and taken over this game in the fourth quarter. Davis doesn't get anything on their initial look. They pull it back out, and Atwater says, give me the ball. I'm going to go get us a bucket. A tough pull-up jumper. And you can see this sophomore doesn't care the moment. He's just going to go and get his team a bucket no matter how.
Now, Tyler, there's 9.5 seconds left. Plenty of time. And we've seen this picture before. Who do you draw it up for here if you're Riverton?
Was there anybody in the state that you'd rather have on your team right now than Jackson Karakis, a man that can go out there and make any shot he needs to? He's so good at elevating. He gets so high on his jump shot that even when there is defenders in his face, he's able to get over them. But that being said, Riverton hasn't been able in this fourth quarter to really get anything set and going downhill. It's just been transition baskets. Their last 4 possessions, I think they've got 1 shot off. It was the Karakis fade away on the baseline. So you got to find a way to get it in his hands, but give him some space to work with so he can go and find himself a jump shot.
9.5 seconds left in regulation. Riverton's already played 1 overtime game this season, and it was against Copper Hills in this building. Are we going to have more purple magic in Riverton? Here we go. All red. Looking. All red. Timeout called by Skylar Wilson. He didn't like the set. And so they're going to get 1 more shot at it here with 4.7 seconds to go.
They tried to get Karakis off ball, set him a screen, and get him coming around the screen to get him the ball. But now you got to think, whoever's going to take this shot, you want to inbound it to him right away. You have Karakis. You also have Stratton Johnson, who's had a hot hand tonight. He's hit some big shots. He had 10 in the first half. It's been more quiet in the second half. So I imagine it's going to go to one of those 2 guys. But Karakis is the one that, we saw him hit the tough buzzer beater at the end of the first half. He's the guy that can elevate and hit the tough shots.
I'd like to remind you, at the end of this game, Tyler and I will be selecting our choice for the Heidemann & Associates Player of the Game, the full-service law firm committed to winning for their clients. 4.7 left on the clock in regulation.
Has Skylar Wilson ever had a bigger timeout in his life?
Oh, man. Not in the 9 years he's been at Riverton High School has he had a bigger timeout or a bigger play to draw up in his life.
If you're a head coach, these are the moments that you hope you have a few of your best plays stashed away. We'll see what Skylar Wilson comes up with in a time that they haven't been able to find very many good looks this quarter. We'll see if they can get one.
Here we go again. They lob it in. Dunfield. Pass deflected. Stolen. 2 seconds. 1 second. The Davis Stars have done it.
Coleman Atwater with the shot to give him the lead, and Caleb Taylor with the deflection. It really was a good play drawn up by Skylar Wilson. They had Karakis, who was coming around to get the pass for a look, but Caleb Taylor read it. He's done a great job all night of getting his hands in the passing lanes, and a great read to seal it for Davis.
Just drink it all in. These are the moments that make February basketball in Utah so special. The Davis Darts have pulled off the upset. The Riverton Silverwolves have been eliminated. The Region 3 champs are going home. It's the Davis Darts who are coming home to the D Event Center. Back to wrap it all up on the Rewind Sports Network on KSLSports.com.
At UCCU, we'll provide you with a low-rate line of credit that makes it easy to access the equity in your home with no fees or closing costs.
Simply complete an application on your phone or computer and select the low-rate option you prefer.
And then sit back and enjoy the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a low-rate line of credit. Ready for whatever life throws at you.
To learn more or start your application, visit uccu.com or stop by any branch.
Expect the unexpected. Welcome back to Riverton High School one more time as the Davis Darts, the 12 seed, the underdogs who have been in this position many times before under Chad Sims, pull off the shocker. 46-44, they take out the Riverton Silverwolves. Alexander Tumulip, Tyler Gibb. Tyler, that was Utah playoff basketball at its best.
How awesome to have playoff games in the home gym where it's tightly compacted. The noise is just, you can hear it ringing through your ears. It's so different than being at one of the college stadiums, and that was so much fun having both of these teams who give credit to both sides. Riverton, a fantastic season, a great game tonight, and Davis stuck with it, stayed in the game. They were trailing for most of it, but found a way to pull it out.
Davis was down 21-11 with under 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. They end the game outscoring Riverton. 35-23. Tyler, you just knew this Davis team was never out of this game, and they proved it.
In a game that offense was so hard to come by, Davis stuck in it on the defensive end, and then when they needed to, they scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, led by Coleman Atwater. And, that's what you need to do in these playoff games. It's not always going to be pretty, but they kept themselves in it on the defensive end, and when they needed to, they found the way to get baskets. They ended the game on an 8-0 run. So they stuck around, and then towards the end, they had the finishing gut punch and were able to pull it out.
Well, a heartbreaker for Riverton. The Region 3 champs eliminated in the second round of the playoffs. Tyler, before we get to our Heinemann & Associates player of the game, let's give some credit to where credit is due for Riverton. They had this Davis team on the ropes for most of the first half, but they were just not able to close out the Davis Darts here tonight. And a wise man once said to me, clutch play is a very cruel mistress indeed. How much do you think that came back to bite the Riverton Silverwolves this time around?
Riverton has been clutch all season. We've talked about their ability to come back in the second half. And when Davis, took their first lead in the fourth quarter, it was Riverton who punched right back, and they brought it up to 6. They went on that big run and were able to hold off the Darts there for a little while until the end. But, a team that's hit so many clutch shots in Riverton this season, it was Davis who just had one more in him tonight.
Well, now it's time to pick our Heinemann and Associates Player of the Game, presented by the full-service law firm committed to winning for their clients. Tyler, I don't even need to tell you twice who our Player of the Game is going to be. All we need to say is that this kid's only a sophomore, and he made big shot after big shot after big shot. Coleman Atwater, no surprise, is the Player of the Game.
He only had 3 points in the first half. He was 1 for 4, but as we've talked about and as we saw on Wednesday against Weber and again tonight, when the team needs him, Coleman Atwater is there to step up, and I imagine he's going to have many more games and nights like this where he steps up big in the fourth quarter in the future. But unbelievable display of poise. When his team couldn't get anything going offensively, he was the one who started attacking the rim, got some baskets for himself and got them for his teammates, and in the last 10 seconds, hit the biggest shot of the season for the Darts.
Tyler, I know this makes your skin curl as a Leighton grab, but I'm going to ask you the question. Does anybody now doubt that this Davis Darts team could potentially make some serious noise in Ogden, along with potentially Copper Hills?
Well, Davis is a team that has been there a lot. These kids grow up watching, their siblings or their friends, whoever it is, go to the state tournament and perform well. So they know what that atmosphere is like. They've been around it. So there's no question that Davis, when they're playing well, they have talent. They have 4 guys that average double figures. There's no question this team can be dangerous.
20 wins, 20 games now in the playoffs for Chad Sims in 9 years. He's won 13 of them, including a state championship. And that's where the Davis Darts are going next, to the D Event Center. And as we said, folks, Tyler Gibb and I, this is our last basketball telecast of the season. We'd like to thank all of our cameramen with us. Mike Christensen, of course, with us here tonight. And Tino Psyche, of course, who's worked with us a few times. Austin Bigelow. Tyler, just put a bow on this season that we have seen across 6A, and give us your bold prediction now for what we're going to see for the rest of the season.
Well, it's been such a fun season, and seeing how much it means to these players, and you hate to see it come to an end for Riverton, but what a fun season, and capped off by a great night. One of the most exciting games we've ever been involved in terms of high school, and I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the way. We're not sure exactly the rest of the scores tonight, but Copper Hills has been playing really well lately. They're a team that could make some noise. I know you really like Copper Hills, and Davis, if they can build right off this momentum from the fourth quarter, they can be a dangerous team as well.
Tyler, it's always sad, but it was a fun season, and we'll be back. And what's even better is we'll be back to do it in December. I can't wait to see you then. It's going to be a long wait until then.
It's been a great season. Fun ride.
Thank you again to Mike Christensen, to Tino Psyche, Austin Bigelow, all the cameramen that have worked with me, Tyler Gibb, Colton Potter, and Nathan Thatcher throughout the season. We're not done yet, folks, though, with basketball on KSLSports.com. Don't forget to tune in for the quarterfinals at the D Event Center starting next Tuesday morning. Coverage starting at 9:55 a.m. only on your home for the UHSAA Championships, KSLSports.com. For Mike Christensen, for Tyler Gibb, and for the rest of our crew, my name is Alexander Timolik. Thank you again for tuning in to another presentation of the Rewind Sports Network's coverage of the UHSAA Boys Basketball Playoffs. The final score, the Davis Darts 46, the Riverton Silverwolves 44. Until next season, and until we meet again, take care of one another, everyone. Aloha from Utah, and good night.